Muscle doesn't stop growing by accident. It stops growing when your body gets comfortable. And in this video, I will show you how to force your body to respond again. If you're training hard and eating healthy and you think you are doing everything right, but you're not growing, this video is for you. For the ones who are new to my channel, I'm Dr. Nesh Jocic, former bodybuilding champion. I competed 46 times and won 17 titles. I've been in bodybuilding for over 40 years, and during that time, I have personally coached over 3,500 clients and helped them to get in the best shape of their lives. I have also published 12 ebooks, which are fully loaded with everything that you always wanted to know about bodybuilding. So if you want to deepen your knowledge and expand your horizons, simply click on that link in the comments and you can access my ebooks and finally start building muscle and losing body fat. Muscle doesn't stop growing randomly. Your body stops growing once it becomes comfortable to whatever you are doing. And once that happens, more effort doesn't mean more results. It usually means more frustration. So today I'm going to show you how to shock your body to start growing again, not by gimmicks, not by some fancy exercises or revolutionary discovery in weight training and muscle growth, but simply by fixing the 5 most important growth triggers that your body responds to. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly why your progress stopped and how to restart muscle growth again. Most people don't need more intensity, they need better structure. Your body grows from stimulus and recovery. And if your training split is not structured properly, this is not going to happen. Or if your recovery is not enough, because maybe you're training every muscle 2 or 3 times per week, this is not going to happen. So both of these things, the training structure and recovery, can stop your growth. So instead of training randomly, your split should hit each muscle with enough volume. This is very important. Not many people do that, and they wonder why they are not growing. Many are training 1 set per exercise, promoted by people who didn't really do it themselves or didn't know much about physiology, but rely mainly on steroids, insulin, and growth hormone. But if your volume is not high enough, you will not grow. Also, your split should allow for the full recovery before you train the same muscle again. Meaning, as I said so many times in many of my videos, you should train every muscle once a week. That will allow your body to fully recover that muscle, not just muscle, but also connective tissues related to the particular muscle group, and also systemically, so you can be ready to train that muscle fully in a week. And also, you have to be aware that you need to focus on mechanical tension, not just fatigue. So that mechanical tension is obviously made of time under tension, form, duration of your sets. This is why I advise particular duration of the sets for upper body, lower body. This is what relates directly to the number of reps that I'm suggesting. So these 3 things are very important for the correctly structured workout. One more thing to remember, that your foundation should be controlled compound lifts. So you cannot just build muscle by some cable exercising, new exotic, super isolating movements, etc., etc. That is not going to happen. You need compound lifts. Also, you need progressive overload in tension, not just in weight. So many people are coming back to me and asking, oh, but you're saying not to lift heaviest weights possible, but Dorian Yates, Mike Mentzer, and whoever else said the weight relates to muscle growth. Not at all. Your muscle doesn't know how much weight you're lifting. Don't get into the trap of powerlifting training system. Your muscle only responds to progressive overload, but progressive overload is not necessarily linked only to weights, it's linked also to tension. And tension is more important for muscle growth than weight. Weight doesn't matter. There is no such a thing as heavy or light weight. There is only right weight for you. So if you understand that, you will be able to find a weight that will allow you to perform in perfect form every set that you do with enough reps, as I'm suggesting, making sure that you have that continuous tension, mechanical tension during required time, during time under tension. So progressive overload, again, is not just heavier weights, but is more tension, overload in tension. Remember that. Now, this is the area which I dedicated the whole video for, and this is where most of the lifters get it wrong. Actually, they are training for strength, not growth, and this is very different. So strength training and hypertrophy are not the same thing. If your focus is on 3 to 5 reps, right, you are more into strength training than in bodybuilding, in hypertrophy. Also long rest. If you're resting minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes between the sets, this is not bodybuilding. You're not going to build muscle like that as you can possibly with shorter rest between the sets. And again, on that subject, you have the previous video, and you can relate to that video for more detail. So if you're just aiming to move maximal weight, this is not bodybuilding. So this low reps, long rest, maximum weight, you are training as a powerlifter. You may become stronger, but you're not going to become bigger. Just to remind you, Golden Era legends never did that. They didn't focus on 3 to 5 reps. They didn't rest minutes between the sets. And they used the weights that will allow them to do high number of reps, high number of sets, and also minimum rest between the sets for maximal muscle hypertrophy. So I think you should be aware until now, if you watch my videos, how important that is. So if you're training this way, if you're hitting heavy weights, resting less, doing 3 to 5 reps, you're training your nervous system. You're adapting to lift heavier, but you're not training your muscles. So instead of your focus being shifted on the muscle growth, your focus and your efforts and intention is more into getting stronger. But getting stronger is not a guarantee that you're going to get bigger. Muscle growth responds to controlled tempo. First of all, the form has to be perfect. I mentioned that so many times. Also, time under tension. You need to be in that time under tension. Minimum for upper body muscles, 20 to 30 seconds, up to 60. When it comes to legs, anywhere from 40 seconds to 90 seconds. So this is extremely demanding. This is extremely intelligent. This is extremely hard. So this is why people are not doing it. But this is bodybuilding. So if you are interested in muscle growth and fat loss, then you are on the right channel. If you're interested in powerlifting, I think you should switch to different channels and listen to different people. I'm only interested in muscle growth and fat loss, and it says in the title of my channel. So guys, I hope you get the message. Also, you need full muscle fiber recruitment, and this is not going to happen in 10 seconds of your super intense set because you're aiming for 3 to 5 max reps or whatever. That full muscle fiber recruitment happens during the long set, which is performed in perfect form and under mechanical tension, which is extremely important for muscle hypertrophy. If the set doesn't last long, you will not recruit all muscle fibers. You will just recruit maybe quarter of it, maybe less. But for the full recruitment of all muscle fibers that will respond with growth, you need to do longer sets and rest shorter between the sets. Again, moderate to high number of reps, as I suggest, for lower body, anywhere from 12 to 20, even over 20, especially for quads. And for upper body, anywhere from 8 to 12 reps. If every rep is 3 to 4 seconds, then you are doing the right thing. Then you will have enough time under tension. You will stimulate sarcoplasmic growth. Remember, this is the most important thing. This is bodybuilding story. Bodybuilding is all about sarcoplasmic growth anyway, and especially if you are a natural bodybuilder. So these few factors that I've just mentioned are critical for muscle growth, and this is why muscles are growing. So if your progress has stopped, most likely is that you are ego lifting. You're not focusing on muscle hypertrophy and factors which are actually contributing to muscle hypertrophy. You are focusing on lifting the heaviest weights possible, and your training is more like powerlifting style training. Your muscles, they don't know how much weight you're lifting, what is on the bar. They only respond to how much tension you are causing in your sets. So the third factor, which is critical for restarting muscle growth is nutrition. So let's talk a little bit about nutrition. One of the most neglected macronutrients, as I can tell from my own experience, for experience of thousands of clients in the last 40 years and countless number of people I came across with the same problem, was that people were eating too much carbohydrates and not enough protein. They usually forget that the main macronutrient for muscle growth, for hypertrophy, is protein. This is why it's called protein, from Greek word protos, which means the best, number one. So that protein, that macronutrient, is absolutely non-negotiable. So if you don't eat enough protein, muscles will never grow. You need to have loads of protein in your diet every day to cause muscle hypertrophy. Without enough protein, you don't repair muscle damage. So every time you perform high-intensity exercise, high-intensity workouts, as I suggest, you are causing micro damage, micro breakdown of your muscle fibers. And in order to repair that, the body needs a big amount of protein. It's not true that the body will need carbohydrates and just a little bit of protein. This is absolute nonsense. Carbohydrates are not essential. If they were so important, they would be essential, but there is no such thing as essential carbohydrates. Bear that in mind. You have essential amino acids, you have essential fatty acids, but there is nothing called essential carbohydrates. So that is the biggest signal, the biggest message that you need to get. Also, not only to recover muscle damage, but to build new tissue, which is called supercompensation in physiology. When it comes to building new muscle tissue, you need protein again. And if you don't do this, you will just keep training and staying the same. And this is what happens to so many people. I had so many clients, probably hundreds and hundreds of them, who came to me with some expert advice on diet, which was 60-70% carbohydrates, 20% protein, and 10% fat, and they simply couldn't grow. I also remember one of my great friends, Gemo Nazar, who was an astonishing bodybuilder. And when I came to London in '93, I was more experienced than Gemo. Gemo was still struggling to win light heavy. He couldn't even go over 90 kgs. Everything he was doing was amazing. Training was amazing. He was in good shape, but he didn't grow for some reason. Then I analyzed his diet, and I said, Gemo, you need to double your protein. You need to cut your carbohydrates, maybe nothing more than 50-70 grams a day. I need to up your protein to 300 grams. He was on 300-400 grams of carbs and 150 grams of protein. He looked at me and said, Nash, you're crazy. I said, why don't you try? Now, Gemo tried, and guess what happened? Next year, he was heavyweight. He was almost 100 kgs. We even competed, and I lost from him. So I shot myself in the leg, actually, by telling him one of the most important things in bodybuilding. But, however, I don't know if Gemo is watching this video, if he will see this, but again, great friend. He was always grateful for that. In his big interview, he became a professional bodybuilder as well. And in one of big interviews that he gave to Flex, he exactly mentioned that. He said, unless my friend Nash taught me about nutrition, I actually couldn't grow because I was doing everything like everybody else, but it simply didn't work for me. Just an example from my experience how people respond to higher protein. Not to mention, as I said, hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of clients that I've seen, and they had the same problem. Once we cut the carbs, up the protein, the game completely changed. So beware of that. It's a very, very important thing. So that may be the reason, one of the reasons that you are not growing. So if you change this, if you increase your protein intake, lower carbohydrates, keep your fat half of your protein amount, maybe if you're on 300 grams of protein, maybe 150 grams of fat, maybe more, maybe 200, depending on the individual. But that would be a much better option for muscle growth. You will create that environment for muscle growth. Allow body to grow simply because you are entering the new hormonal environment. You will be extremely insulin sensitive, and that will actually create more surplus of glucose and amino acids in your cells. But if you're eating higher carbohydrates, you will be insulin resistant possibly, but definitely low insulin sensitivity. So body will constantly be in the trouble to put enough amino acids and glucose into the muscle cells. You need high insulin sensitivity for optimal muscle growth. And the diet that I just have explained, high protein, medium fat, low carb, will give you exactly that. You need that hormonal environment. And that hormonal environment is fix number 4, if I can say that most of the people suffer from because they are not in good hormonal environment, and this is what is stopping their muscle growth. So let me tell you a few things. If your body is not in the right hormonal environment, it will decide to build less muscle and accumulate more body fat. And this is why this is happening if your sleep is poor. Remember that, because you're going to be producing less growth hormone. So less growth hormone, less muscles, more body fat. If your stress is high, that means that you're going to producing more cortisol, higher insulin resistance. Cortisol, higher cortisol, chronically elevated cortisol means you're going to be burning your muscle tissue around the clock in order to supply enough glucose to the unnecessary stress level that something is causing. Also, inconsistency in diet. If you're not eating correctly every single day, your body won't be in a proper hormonal environment. Because when you eat high amount of protein, medium fat, low carbs, first of all, you're stimulating muscle growth, as explained, because you're going to have very high insulin sensitivity. So your cells will be open for insulin, which will bring more amino acids and glucose into the cells, meaning more growth. If you don't eat enough fat, you will not produce enough testosterone, especially for natural bodybuilders. So if your diet is all over the place, your hormonal environment is not going to be ideal for muscle growth. Another one is recovery. If you're not recovering well, you will be producing more cortisol instead of testosterone and growth hormone. And this is what happens to people when they start hitting every muscle twice per week or 3 times per week, especially naturals, and also doing that cardio every day, simply getting completely different hormonal environment, which is opposite to the one that you need for maximum muscle growth. So to shock your system hormonally, you must sleep properly, 7 to 9 hours every night. You need to manage stress. You need to understand that there are some priorities in life. Don't just get upset or stressed with things which don't really matter to you, or they are not in your hands. They don't depend on you. Also, you need to eat consistently. You need to eat right diet. As I have mentioned, the best one is high protein, medium fat, low carbs. And you need to fully recover between your sessions of the same muscle groups. So this will shock your system hormonally, and you will get into that hormonal environment, which means you will be building more muscle because you will be producing more growth hormone, more testosterone, less cortisol, and your body will be feeling safe. Only feeling safe, your body will be able to grow. So the fix number 5 would be to change your mental attitude. This is something that lots of people fail. I'm going to do the video on that subject in particular, but for now I'm just going to say to you that your body will always adapt when your training becomes comfortable. A lot of people enjoy being in that comfortable zone, not just when it comes to training, but when it comes to everything else in life. That comfort goes far across the board. And once you get into that comfort zone, you simply don't feel that you need to do something better, that you need to push harder, that you need to think more, that you need to analyze more, that you need to create better. You are just fine. This is why it's called comfort zone. So once you enter that comfort zone, although this is nothing wrong to be comfortable at some periods of the day or a month or year or whatever you want, but that must not become your constant environment. Because, for example, for muscle growth, what is required is, number one, is effort. So if you entered that comfort zone and you're happy with whatever muscle development you have achieved with certain size of your muscles, fine. But if you don't get out of it, if you don't put more effort to get out of comfort zone, because more effort is not going to be comfortable, that's for sure, you will never change. And this is why more effort is the main shock, basically, that will get you out of this bad mental attitude. Also, number 2 is consistency. You need to be consistent in whatever you do. If you are training hard and you are changing and you come to a certain point and then you just stop, you need to continue with that intensity progression. You can't just level, you can't just stop doing that. Because if you're not consistent in constantly doing your best, everything will stop. Number 3 is discipline. So this is another very important part of your mental attitude. If you're not disciplined, if you're saying, oh, I'm going to have a so-called junk meal once a week, twice a week, that's okay, nothing is going to change. Oh, today I just don't feel like eating. I'm going to have, instead of 3 meals, I'm going to have 1 and 2 protein shakes. And if you keep doing that, you are not going to be consistent. You're going to be playing again with your hormonal environment. So consistency requires discipline. And without discipline, if you're not doing right everything, nothing is going to happen. And you are going to stop growing. The most famous bodybuilders, whoever, all of them, they were extremely disciplined people. They were like machines, basically. Once they discovered what works and what should be done for muscle growth, they would stick to it, and nothing will disrupt that path to greatness. So discipline is absolutely, again, non-negotiable. And another one, which is very important for muscle growth, another factor which belongs to this mental attitude, is that you need to do whatever is needed to be done in order to grow, not just what is fun. Most of the people in the gyms today, across the globe, they train for fun. They go to the gym to socialize, have nice chats, see new people, meet new people, have a protein shake, protein bar, eat something maybe, and they feel great. And for all these reasons, gym is absolutely phenomenal place to be if you want to see it as a fun, as a comfortable part of your day, when you relax, when you meet other people, you have nice chat. But are you going to grow from that attitude? No, you're not going to grow. You need to do what is needed to be done, and not what is fun. Also, you cannot grow if you skip your sessions. I, for example, never skip my training session in my life. For over 40 years I've been training. I can't remember when I have skipped my training sessions. Last time I can remember was when I have COVID. I ended up in a hospital for 10 days and I couldn't exercise, obviously. But the day I was out, I went to the gym. Another time was when I was in the hospital with a broken leg. That was in 1989, I believe. And but I asked my guys to bring bench and dumbbells from the gym, and I continued training even in the hospital. So don't skip your sessions. There is no excuse for that. Also, if you're doing your sets in very short period of time, if you cut them short with low reps, you're not going to grow from that. I explained that earlier on. So this is a powerlifting training system, not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding requires higher number of reps. Bodybuilding is all about that time and attention, which 3 to 5 reps will never give you. If you start avoiding hard movements, you're going to stop growing. You can't just start doing some, as I like to say, exotic exercises. Oh, this movement is good because I feel the muscle when I'm stretching fully, and with the cable I turn this way or that way. Somebody is selling that nonsense under the false biomechanics, which has nothing to do with muscle growth. Oh, but I feel my muscle. Well, if I massage your muscle, you're going to even feel it more, but you're not going to grow. So historically, it has been proven over and over again, without any doubt, that without hard movements, which are basic multi-joint movements, squats, leg press, hack squats, bench press, dips, pull-ups, bent over rows, shoulder presses, etc., you will never grow. You can feel great, you can massage your muscles with all these new gadgets and exercises, but you will never grow. Just look at the history of bodybuilding. Look at everybody who has grown now that you see in the gyms, modern professionals. What are they doing? They're all doing very hard, basic multi-joint exercises, period. And also, you must not quit when it's uncomfortable. This is not the way to grow. So if you're coming close to the failure and it's becoming hard, but you're still not very close to the failure, and you stop because it's uncomfortable, that is not going to happen. You're not going to grow. So muscle growth happens outside the comfort zone, and this is very important for your overall mental attitude. So once you fix these things, you will start growing. So let me wrap it up with a few final thoughts. And if your body stops growing, it's not because you're unlucky, it's because your body has adapted. And to restart your growth, you must, first of all, fix your training structure. Second, you need to train for tension, not ego strength. Third, you need to eat enough protein to build muscle. Fourth is that you have to create a hormonal environment that supports growth. And the fifth is you need to develop discipline to push beyond comfort zone. So these are 5 fixes how to shock your body into the new growth again. So if one of these or all of them were not there, now you have them. You know how to fix and start growing again. And this is how you will shock your system the right way. Not by going to perform some random new exercises, but simply by fixing the fundamentals your body actually responds to. So let me remind you once again that I have published 12 ebooks which are fully loaded with detailed information about everything you always wanted to know about bodybuilding, things like muscle growth, training splits, number of sets, number of reps, fat loss, lifestyle change, nutrition. And if you want to deepen your knowledge and expand your horizons, simply click on that link below in the comments and you can access my ebooks. So guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, send me your comments, and until the next video, I wish you all the best.